What if I told you you could save hundreds of dollars in weeks of your life by processing your own film at home? Well, today, we're going to go over just that. I've dabbled with film photography since high school. Oh, look at baby Ben. But I was never able to get fully into it because it was a lot of work and a lot of money. Over the past 2 years, I have been perfecting shooting and processing film on a budget. And this is the guide I wish I had when I started. A roll of color negative film can cost anywhere between $8 and all the way up to near $20. This does not include the $10 to $20 you will need to spend to get the film processed and scanned by a lab, which can take 2 to 4 weeks depending on the lab. And sometimes you don't even get your negatives back. This means your roll of 36 exposures can cost upwards of $1 per shot. So I wanted to find a way to develop and scan film on my own to save time and money. After the initial equipment investment, I have reduced my cost per roll down to less than $1 per roll. Not only can processing film at home save you time and money compared to processing with a lab, but it also gives you complete control over your images and the satisfaction of seeing your work come to life immediately. Whether you're a photography beginner or a seasoned pro looking to try something new, this guide has something for everyone. In this video, we'll be going over the basics of film photography and film development, all the equipment that you'll need, how to make the necessary chemistry, how to prep for development, and finally, how to process film. First things first, we're going to need some exposed film. This is done using a film camera of your choice. If you would like to learn more about film cameras, check out my film camera basics video in the description. As a reminder, exposed film needs to remain in total darkness until it is developed, otherwise your images will be ruined. To avoid this, we're going to be using something called a changing bag. This bag allows you to remove the film from the canister and place it onto your development reel. Once on a reel, it can be placed inside a development tank for processing. To actually develop our film, we're going to need development chemistry, a temperature control system, and a development tank. Once your film is inside of a development tank, it is safe to take out of the changing bag, and you'll be ready to develop your film. To develop film, we will be pouring our developer, followed by our Blix, which stands for bleach fix, into our development tank, which will cause the film to no longer be sensitive to light. This will allow you to scan your film and show off your images. Now, let's go over what you'll need. A container that you can store your chemicals in, as well as heat up water. One that's airtight is nice to have. Of course, you're going to need your changing bag. Mixing containers made out of plastic or glass to make our chemistry. A funnel. A plastic stirring stick. Scissors. A way to hang up our film for it to dry. A thermometer, our development container, our temperature control system, accordion containers to store our chemistry in, gloves to protect our hands, a development log, our chemistry kit, distilled water, and a film leader retriever. Alright, so now that we know exactly what equipment we're going to need, the next step is going to be to make our chemistry. So today I'm going to be using the Cinestill Color Simplified Quart Kit, which makes a quart of both the color processor and the Blix, which are the two chemicals that we need to process our film. For your safety, always wear gloves and eye protection when making chemistry. First, you will need to use your thermometer to verify your water is at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Pro tip, make your Blix first and your developer second, since the water needs to cool down to 120 degrees. Next, grab a clean mixing container that is made either of plastic or glass, and add 18 ounces of distilled water. Next, pour part A of your Blix into your mixing container. Be sure to stir vigorously. Next, add part B and mix well. Finally, add part C and top off your container with distilled water. Add the solution to an accordion-style chemical tank labeled Blix, and press down until there is hardly any air left in the tank and close the lid. This helps your chemistry last much longer. For our developer, we will need to make sure that our water is at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and grab a clean mixing container. and add 20 ounces of distilled water. And just like our Blix, we will add parts A, B, and C, one at a time while stirring vigorously. Once all parts are combined, we are going to add our chemistry into an accordion-style container, labeled Developer or Color Bath, and press down until the liquid is at the top of the lid. Once our chemistry is made, place it back into our heating tank at 102 degrees while we prep for development. Keeping a logbook is one of the most important things you can do when developing film at home. This will keep you organized and allow you to prep for the development process. Our logbook will consist of 5 sections. Our title, which includes the date and the development type, color, black and white, or slide film, whether we made new chemistry, the film processed, the steps we need to take to process our film, and finally, agitation. First, we're going to add our title. We're going to enter today's date, which at the time of recording this video is 10/10/2024, and this is a color development session. Next, did we make new chemistry? Yes, developer, and Blix. The film being processed is a roll of Fuji 200 and Cinestill 800T. For our steps section, we will be using the times provided to us in the instructions. Step 1, wash the film for 1 minute. Step 2, developer for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Step 3, Blix for 8 minutes. Step 4, wash film for 3 minutes. Step 5, photo flow, which is an optional drying agent that helps water shear off of the film. And step 6, a final rinse with distilled water. The final section is agitation. This is the inversion of the development tank by flipping it upside down. When we add our developer, we will do this continuously for 10 seconds, then 4 inversions every 30 seconds. If you do more than this, it can cause your film to overdevelop and taint your results. Now, let's say we do a second bath. We will need to calculate our new development times because our chemistry progressively gets weaker the more we use it. For each roll of film developed, we will need to increase our development time by 2%. Since we developed 2 rolls of film in our previous batch, we will need to increase the development time by 4%. So, for batch 2, we will be processing 2 more rolls of Kodak Gold 200. The first wash step will remain the same at 1 minute, but we will need to calculate how much longer our developer and Blix will be. It's time for a math lesson with Professor Ben. Whip out your calculators and follow along. First, we will need to convert our previous step times into seconds. Our previous developer step time was 3 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to multiply 3 minutes by 60, which is 180, plus 30 for a total of 210 seconds. We are then going to grab a percentage, which is 2.1, then multiply that by 4 to get 8.4 seconds. We're going to round down to 8 seconds, bringing our new total to 3 minutes and 38 seconds. You got it? Now calculate how much our Blix time will be. Pause the video and do the calculations on your end. I will give you reminders on the screen now. If you got 8 minutes and 19 seconds, you'd be correct. If not, pause the video and try again, or reach out to me in the comments, and I'll do my best to help you out. Alright. Now we're going to go over how to set up our development tank. First things first, we're going to put on some gloves so that we don't get any of our hand oils on the film or anything else like that. It just keeps things clean. It makes things a little bit easier because you're not afraid of touching the film. So first, let's talk about the anatomy of a development tank. This is our development tank. It can be opened in daylight and is opened by pulling up on this red ring right here. You pull up until you hear a click, and you take off the lid. This will expose the reels on the inside. So this tank actually comes with 2 reels, each for 35 millimeter film, which means you can develop 2 rolls at the same time to maximize your time. Or can be expanded to hold 120, which is great. Allow you to process it in the same tank. But let's first go over 35 millimeter, because that's what most people will be shooting with. We're going to put this over to the side, and we're going to grab a roll of 35 millimeter film. The first thing you're going to need to do is pull out the lead of the film. We can do this by grabbing our film leader retriever, which is this tool here. This tool allows you to reach inside of the film canister, grab the lead, and pull it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold it back in. We're going to use this curved side to shove it inside of our canister. We're going to take slide A, slide it into the canister, and we're going to hold it up to our ear and twist the top of the canister until we hear a click. Once you hear a click, you're going to slide in your second slider and pull. And there you go. You got your leader back out. So remember, the leader is already exposed to light when you load it into your camera for a couple of inches. So to get it onto the reel, we're going to need a flat end. So we're going to pull out our film just a little bit. And we're going to take our scissors. And we're going to cut a nice straight line right across the film to make it nice and easy to slide it onto our reel. I like doing this outside of the dark bag because it's easier to prep it. So we're going to take our reel and we're going to look for these two curved inserts right here. This is where our film is going to start. So we're going to take our flat edge and we're going to place it right inside of there. So we'll slide it in. And then that reel is now prepped. And remember, all of this is going to be taking place inside of a dark bag. You won't be able to see it. Pro tip, practice this outside of the changing bag a few times, then practice it with your eyes closed before using the changing bag. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go ahead and expose a roll of 35mm and a roll of 120 to light, which means I won't be able to use it, but that's okay. We're all learning here. Inside of the bag, we're going to have our lid, we're going to have our tank, we're going to have our column, and we're going to have our reels that are prepped with the 35mm film. So let's go ahead and prep our second roll so that we know exactly where it is in the bag. So now let's pretend this is inside of our dark bag, our hands are inside, and we're just going to be feeling around. So what I like to do is I feel for one of my canisters, and then I use my other finger to find the middle of the reel. And then I'll pick it up, just like this, vertically, and then use my other hand to pinch the film on both sides. So then you can just slowly rock it back and forth onto the reel. And just keep working that film onto the reel. Sometimes you can pull it out. All right, now that I can feel that we're at the end of the roll, you can also see here that there's some tape. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut as close as we can to our canister. And then rotate the rest of that film onto our reel. And then slide it onto your column and move on to the next one. Once both rolls are on to your reels, you can put them both onto your column, place them inside of your development tank, and put on the lid. Now, prepping for 120 film is a little bit different because unlike 35mm film that is inside of a canister, this is on a roll. So I went ahead and exposed this black and white roll, and we're going to go over how to put it onto this reel outside of the changing bag so you can kind of see what to look for and what to feel for when you're trying to load this onto a reel. So starting off, we're going to take off our exposed tag and we're going to place it down. What I like to do is I feel for this folded up tab here and I start to roll it back and then use both of my fingers to roll, using my thumbs to feel for the film. So you're kind of making a scroll until you find film, which takes a little bit sometimes, but once you find it, you'll be able to feel the edge of the film. So I'm going to use my finger to go underneath and kind of use my fingers as a way to separate it from the backing paper. So once I have this edge, I'm going to find my reel by finding this red tab sticking up. I'll pick it up and I'll feel for my little entrance here. And I'm going to try to place each corner carefully into each side. And then hold on to it with my thumbs, just like with the 35mm. But now I'm going to use my pinkies, push against the reel that the 120 is on. Sometimes you got to keep your fingers on these edges so that the corners don't get caught in them. Once you reach the end of a 120 roll, there will be some tape at the end. You got to be very careful taking this tape off because you can rip your film. So typically you can feel where the tape is. It's usually on the underside. So what I like to do is I try to get as close to the edge of my reel as I can. And then I try to peel up from the corner here. And like try to tear it off the best that you can. Nice and slow. Don't want to rush this last step. Then once removed, you'll be able to put the rest of the film back onto the reel. Lock that red tab, slide it onto your column, place it inside of your canister. Now take this out of your changing bag and move on to processing your film. Alright, so now that we got our film processed, we're going to go ahead and hang it up to dry. So we'll take it out, we'll remove the lid just like we did before. We'll take our two reels out, like so. I'm going to take this one, put it here for now. Start off with this one right here. So you just twist And open it up, remove one side. And you can just take the end, and voila! We're going to take this side because it has the least amount of images, and we're going to hang it up on a clothespin. We're going to take our second roll of film, unlock it, do the same thing, unravel. I'm going to grab this end. These are looking pretty good, not gonna lie. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support this channel, please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified when new videos go live. If you want to see how I edit and scan these negatives, feel free to watch these videos.